Hello and welcome to part 34. Just like to talk a little bit about Israel and Palestine and whoever else it may uh, pertain to. Um, I wanted to say, firstly, that I care very much about both these countries. I'm not trying to be the broker, I'm just an individual. But I, I deeply care about Israel and Palestine. Over the years, I've learned more and more about the situation. But let's not delve too deep into the past because things were not right. There was no solution as far as I could see. The map didn't allow for a solution to getting to all the important sites and the territories and whatnot. Let me take a pause. I believe only a safe train or some sort of safe transit is possible for Palestine to be united and considered a nation the way the map is. Um, I understand there's going to be an independent inquiry into what happened regarding Friday's the violence and the peaceful demonstrating, the possible not so peaceful demonstrating by a few or something like that. This needs to be done, yet it's not going to resolve the conflict, I don't think. Only talks will yield peace, is what I believe. Um, let's see. I also find that the conditions in especially Gaza are deplorable. I mean, they have to go far for water, and a lot of the water isn't um, usable. I mean, 5% or something like that is usable, um, viable to drink. Or I don't know. I guess they have to boil it. It's not. It's far from ideal. They're losing electric power. It's being shut off. It can't go on that way. Is what needs to be seen. For too many years, it's been bad in Gaza, and I don't think that's right. I don't think that's fair. And then so perhaps or indeed Israel needs the pressure from the international community to come to the table to talk with the UN, perhaps. The U.S. may be doing this, I don't know, but I strongly suggest the UN do it. And maybe meet unilaterally with the UN, and then maybe Palestine can do the same. We have to account for the people of Jerusalem. There is already a number of different ethnicities and people with different beliefs there, different religions, and they should be also respected. And another thing is, I believe in a multi-ethnic capital city of both Palestine and Israel, that is Jerusalem. And I know that may not sit well, but given time, I hope. I don't think we have the time to get used to the thought. I think a lot of work needs to be done, and Gaza needs to be freed up, um, as well as the rest of the Palestinian people. I don't think it'll be as difficult as it seems. It seems a daunting task to unite these people in Jerusalem. Have them be on the same street. I know it can be at first maybe uncomfortable or something like that after all the years of animosity and strife and whatnot decades ago, but things are different. I still have ambivalent feelings about these peaceful protests so close to the wall. I mean, it needs to be said that Gaza needs help and Palestinians need help. Yet at the same time, doing it so close to the wall is a little provocative. So I sort of, to coin a phrase, I don't mean to poke fun at this situation whatsoever. But it's sort of riding the fence is what I'm doing. Is I'm saying it's good that it's peaceful mostly, but then at the same time it may scare Israelis that the fence will be taken down, and so I suggested another segment, another part that they protest well within Gaza borders. And maybe the press could get in there, and they could be seen protesting peacefully. That may go over well. Would anything happen? I don't know. I strongly suggest that Israel needs. I don't know exactly. Maybe they've decided to come to the table to UN and speak about these matters. But dragging this on is just the history of the conflict. It went on for so long, but I think the map didn't allow for it. I hate to toot my own horn or something like that, but I think something like, I may not have even the right idea, but a safe train for both from Gaza to the West Bank and Jerusalem would alleviate the separation of Palestine, and it could be unified once again, yet respecting the territorial rights of Israel, just crossing through, passing through, not stopping in Israel, and Israel being Israel, their country, Palestine being their country, Jerusalem being everyone's that should be there, if that makes any sense already. I've said this before, so I don't want to repeat, but there are many ethnicities, many people with different beliefs, even agnostics and atheists live there, Christians live there. And so it's really already a multi-ethnic city. I know something of this because of Bosnia, and I know it was like pulling teeth, but Sarajevo did wind up multi-ethnic, and I think they still have a ways to go, but maybe these people can do this more rapidly, and getting along and working well together. I mean, there has to be some cooperation going on between the two, especially Israel and Palestine. And so Palestine is having it bad, Israel's having it not so bad. The aspirations of the Palestinian people should also be heard, not just the Israelis. I'll be honest, my background, when I was a boy, I was fortunate enough to have Israeli friends that were, I thought, very special and still do. When I was a boy and I was allowed to go to, I thought it a privilege, Israeli summer camps for 4 years, and it was primarily, 90% of the campers were Israelis, and then counselors too. We had some other ethnicities of counselors that were English, and but just to name one, there were others as well. Maybe just an average American, maybe multi-ethnic or something, but I don't take that lightly. I felt like I was let in, and learned that Israelis are special, and then I've also learned that Palestinians are special, and they need to be seen more as not, people that are, you know, expendable, or can live in atrocious settings. They need, they should be on equal footing with Israelis. I'm not saying maybe entirely so, but by and large equals. I think this has been a theme throughout my parts that I've put together as this video library. Equals seem to be the trend, and we need to allow for both to prosper in harmony and civility and in peace. And I know this is running on a little bit, but it's just so very important. I don't know. A just peace, a fair peace, a good peace, meaning moral and good for all sides. A peace accord is definitely needed, and most soon. It shouldn't be delayed like it always has been in the past. I think we have the groundwork, but the peace talks need to not stall, but continue on. I think one of the things that goes on in the world is that we like to believe we are special, and that is the truth. I mean, each individual is the truth, and we can make subsections of people, because of their religion, because of their ethnicity, whatever. We want to believe we're special, we're important, we deserve, that kind of thing. It is true, but so do others. I mean, they're equal, whether we like to believe it or not, or like to dwell on it or not. They are equal, and this needs to be resolved peacefully through talks, through discourse. And I know I'm belating the point, but maybe you can hear me yet again and see it this way. I mean, I think, besides the investigation, I don't want that to be a can of worms. I think both are somewhat innocent, somewhat guilty, something like that. It's like both bear responsibility for what happened. I know it sounds like I'm blame sharing just to make peace, but I think that's about the truth of it. Although the Gazians and the Palestinians do indeed have it worse than Israelis, I think. I mean, the Israelis may live with anxiety or something of that effect because of the Palestinians. So it may be about equal in circumstance and situation and quality of life, but I was a proponent when there was no solution as far as I could see. I mean, some wanted peace, and I understood that. Yet we needed protection for Israel, and so that happened. But now I think it's gone too far with these settlements. That it should be Palestinian land, and many of these settlements, and are they to the liking of Palestinians? Do they have to be resettled? I mean, plowed down and rebuilt? I mean, a lot of money may need to go into the area to get it going again. I know that the Palestinians just had their money cut. This is not good. It should change. Likewise, Israel should be. I mean, they have a history of being fairly wealthy, and why not? There's There's nothing wrong with that. Money is important and good incentive, and so I think both can be prosperous and live in peace and harmony. And it may be a shock to the system for some that Palestinians should also live well, and I don't think we should. Now they're living poorly. They're living horrible lives, possibly condition-wise, and we need to, they need to settle their government issues. Again, I believe Hamas should be lifted off the list of terrorist organizations because they've proven themselves to be an effective government. Now, the reason why they wound up on the list is the name decades ago was not acceptable. But these days they show restraint. They take responsibility for the people. They're a force for good, albeit there may be a few bad apples in the bunch. That should be addressed as well if it is the truth. But by and large, Hamas is a force for good, and they're of the Gazian people. They were very popular. They were elected. They watched out for the Gazian people, and I think that this should be honored and respected, and they should be given the status of not terrorist yet a government. I mean, part of the Palestinian government. I mean, we have the Palestinian Authority, we have Gaza, we have Hamas in Gaza. Maybe power sharing is important, inclusive government between the two. This needs to happen. So much needs to happen, and they need to settle this. I think how it should be done. I mean, because it is in truth, even with a train or transit, it shall be slightly divided, even though it's maybe a hop, skip, and a jump away. They're different areas in Palestine, so maybe something that would reach both, an all-inclusive government for Palestine, albeit regionally. Maybe Hamas should govern Gaza, and Palestinian Authority govern the West Bank, and then what happens in Jerusalem is the question. The capital, I think all parts of Palestine should be included, represented. I also believe in American style or U.S. style government. I've explained why this is, I don't know if you've seen the other parts. Some of them, not many views happened, so I repeat myself a little bit. I'm sorry for that, but the government could be a three-branch government, and with checks and balances to keep from there being corruption or a poor decision. It can be checked by another branch. The executive, legislative, and judicial can all check each other. And then a Congress is not a bad way to go. I understand Israel has a parliament. I understand this can work. But two houses, one with a larger number of representatives representing smaller territories, and then senators, they're called the representatives, House of Representatives represent the smaller areas, and then larger territories could be represented by senators. And they should be voted in. I mean, we need free and fair elections for all. This is important, unimpeded And so I think I feel like I'm beating this to a dead horse. Is the expression. I don't mean to get violent. It's an old expression. So much could go on. So much good could go on if only they would allow it and accept their neighbor as their neighbor. I mean, in Jerusalem, actual neighbor. I'll be honest. I remember one time a mosque went up in my neighborhood, and I didn't know anything about the religion, so I was like, "Am I allowed to walk in front of it? You know, what is it?" I mean, so there are, an uneasiness of not understanding someone else's religion. Perhaps they can learn from one another a little bit about. I mean, Islam is a peace and goodness in truth, although there has been extremism, and extremism is wrong, always wrong, and discrimination always wrong. I don't mean for them to, Israel, to share too much of their religion, but maybe they need to explain and show who they are. I know they have the book, same as the Christians, the Old Testament. They have a different book, second book, than Christians, but it's about getting along, is what I've been told, some of it. So they may know something of this. As in my recollection, Judaic people that I knew were very good at getting along. People are different, but that's okay. We like diversity. We should like diversity. And we can choose to associate who we choose to associate with, but acquaintances may need to be how it goes in passing, just passing someone on the street without animosity. Hate always being wrong, dislike always being wrong, dislike what they do, perhaps. This is on occasion. People have blips of doing something we don't like. Everyone is this way, including myself. Maybe you don't like that I'm going on and on. So I'm going to go, but this is so very important. I can't express. I mean, it would mean so much for the world, the Mideast, if there could be peace there. I so much hope they'll set a good example for the world. Peace cropping up everywhere would be ideal, and it may start with Palestine and Israel and Jerusalem. And I hope, Israel can find it within their hearts to share Jerusalem with these others and not feel the need to boot people out or whatever, or take control. Occupation is not, I mean, they know of the Holocaust and how awful that was, and it's not as bad, but occupied is just not treating them right. We all need to be treated rightly. So enough said for now. But please have peace talks. Hear them out. Hear what the options are. Hear what the maybe self-evident plan of the area should be, and listen to it. Take it to heart if it is correct. Don't reject it so easily. And I hope we have peace there soon, most soon. Okay, thank you. And we need to act soon because people are suffering. So suffering, it goes against my credo. I don't believe in suffering, and so let's not let that happen. Okay, bye.